Hello all, I am back with, was this part 19, I believe? So welcome back, I'm glad you're here. So we're going to look at, I think 3 different cards in this segment. I'm trying to stay within 10 to 12 minutes, but it seems like I'm going over. Let's start with, and again, I hope you like taking a look at a few of those special abilities. Let's take a look at Tavern Task cards. As you know, I'm going to put you back over here. Don't worry, Realtor Ramit. There's not going to be any Blair Witch going on. See? It'll be okay. But remember we talked about these here, the quest tables, that there's a main quest, side quest, and kill the Guardians, okay? Those, of course, have to be completed. Those have to be done. But something I created at the beginning of the game, we have some optional quests. And what these are called Tavern Tasks. Now, this was David Shear. I worked with him, and he really just took this. I said, I was thinking of having some kind of warrior or someone giving the heroes a contract to do a task for them. So that's the Tavern Task backing. And what this is these are optional quests. You do not have to, complete these if you don't want to. So when I wrote these, I took some of the characters in the game, like we've already seen. There's Charcy Sibrai, and there's Captain Briggs there. That light is just glaring behind me. There's Hanno Lithgar, and there's Ren Osis, and there's Simon Ashburn. I think there's one more, or Father Jova. And there's Father Jova. So these characters will give you tavern tasks. And what it is they're just optional quests. You don't have to complete these, but you can get some extra life force from doing them. That's what the green here is. And anytime you see a green like this, that means life force. And then you can net some kind of reward. So what you do is at the start of the game, you shuffle the tavern tasks, and you pull one out at random. So for this one, we'd have Simon Ashbourne with the Treasure Hunters. This is a very cool one. That the story in it says that his wife collects antiquities around Avalon, and he's asking you to bring back 5 treasure chests. So treasure chests are all over the dungeon. Each dungeon board has 10 treasure chests. They're marked where to go, and then you draw from the treasure chest deck that's up there, and we are going to look at a few of those. So that's a really fun little side quest, if you will. But you don't have to do that. But again, it'll get you some extra life force and some rewards. But the one I think that we'll share tonight is from Charcy Sibrai. And this one here I wrote is called The Rise of... Let's get that into focus, hopefully, without any glare. So, The Rise of the Crimson Tribe. So, in creating this game, I created all of these different factions. Some are just real small factions. This one in particular, the Crimson Tribe, they're going to show up in the Avalon Adventure board game. So let's take a look at this. So the heroes are exiting the tavern. They are met by Charcy Sibrai, a warrior within the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest. She asks them for their help in dealing with a group of minions known as the Crimson Tribe. She will pay them 200 gold for each one they slay. And then the task, the heroes must slay minions that have a red base on their miniature. This task may be churned in on any celebration day. So reward 200 gold for each minion to a maximum of 4. So you're allowed to kill 4 of them. So remember, we showed those minions like those overgrown Blackrock Vipers. So any minion that has a red base is part of the Crimson Tribe for this tavern task. So you would simply kill them. You could use any kind of one of those red markers up there that's on the terror track, and you could just keep track of that. So when you get 4 of these and you go to one of the celebration days, either the first or second one, you could turn this into Charcy, get yourself 4 times 2 is 800 gold, 4 life force. And there you go, your tavern task is done. You can only have 1 per game. That's the rule. And then, you randomly pick one again. So that is tavern tasks. Very cool. Next, let's take a look at, how about secret rooms? So in Dungeon Crusade there, and I think we touched on these tokens. I think we did, didn't we? briefly. David Shear, there is the back for the secret rooms. Just an amazing job on that. So, and I remember he said his idea was like there's a book over here and it kind of releases and it pops open the secret room. And what secret rooms are, let's go over here and let's take a look at one. The nice thing is that these show up randomly in the dungeon. So let me see if my new system works as well as I think, because I can get you right down and see all this right in the action. We're going to go in here into the Queen's burial chambers. And how do you like that? Look at that, right down into the action. So we can see right here that there's a secret room. And remember, these are all random when they pop up. So if we take a look at this token here, notice that there's a 3 and I think, what is that, a 14, right? Yeah, 14, sorry. Now I just got to perfect it. There, oh, perfect. Secret room, 3 and 14. So what that means is that a hero has 3 attempts to discover the secret room, because, you know, even though it's there per se, a hero has to discover that the secret room is there, and they have to test wisdom. So if we look at, like Zeke would be a very good hero. You're going to take your trusty D20, and say we had Zeke, which of course you would want him because he's a wizard and he's got high wisdom. So on his level 1, he has 3 wisdom. That's like that. Trying to point there to the right there. So he has 3. So what we can do is we roll the D20, and since that says 14, right, we're going to take the D20 and roll. So let's say he tests, well, look at that, I rolled 20s. Rolled a 20. So you would add your wisdom. You pretty much know that, right? And the thing is that you would have 3 attempts to discover that secret room. And you would just use a marker, you know, one of the red markers to put in there. If he does not discover that secret room, it's locked for the remainder of the game. And I think Joseph, I think you asked me about that. Yeah, this is a tough game. You don't get to sit there and, and you don't get to sit there and keep trying to unlock stuff. That's it. If you miss on the 3rd attempt, you know, he's trying to find that secret room. You can't find it. It's done. You're gone. You don't get it. However, Zeke did find the secret room. And so what's inside of secret rooms? Again, I'm really liking this tripod. It's working out perfect. Set it back here. Straighten it up. Perfect. If anything, I'm digging this tripod. Okay, so there's 2 outcomes that when your heroes discover a secret room, okay? And after that, there's a lock-picking thing. Remember we looked at lock-picking? Then you'd want to bring in your rogue to pick the lock, because these doors just don't open up. They got to remember that mechanic where you have to reach into a mug or bag, pull out, I think I got one right here. Case for those maybe didn't see it. There you go. So there's like the lock-picking tokens. Hopefully comes into focus for us. Okay, so see, okay, for this one, you only have 2 attempts. But remember, our rogue has a +2 to lock-picking, so she would have 4 attempts. You would grab the red, green, and blue D6. And there they are. So you would have to meet or exceed those numbers shown. And so our rogue would have 4 attempts to do that. So, you know, you would set successive rolls aside. That's a pretty easy lock, especially for a rogue. So then if you pick the lock, then you get in. And this is hard because you might be thinking, wow, you have to discover it, and then you have to pick a lock. There's people talking in the background, so excuse them. So when you open up, you're going to have 2 outcomes. You're going to have a desolate chamber, and there's that. And Dean Spencer, I worked with him with the backing for this. I want this to come in focus. Take a look at this. It's like a dead king sitting in a there you go, look at that. Dean Spencer, you are freaking awesome. And if you look, there's a skull with a rat sitting on top of it. Thank you for adding that in, Dean. I asked him to put that in. So you found a desolate chamber, meaning you don't find a treasure chamber. Okay, so there's that. But then you could find a treasure chamber. And you're going to see why that this is so, because it's kind of tough. So if you find this treasure chamber, you get 2,000 gold. Look how nice that is. Again, kudos, Dean. You're just, go check out Dean Spencer art if you want to be blown away. And so that's what he did for the treasure chamber. So that's why that, you have to discover the secret room with a wisdom check. Then you have to pick the lock, because treasure chambers usually contain good stuff. And there's more stuff I put in here, but I'm not going to tell you. You got to play the game to find out. But so there you go. That's a little bit of secret rooms and treasure chambers and desolate chambers. How about we end up right now, and then we'll head into another video. A lot of stuff to go over, guys, but I hope, again, you're enjoying this deluxe edition unboxing. Your heroes in this game can contract afflictions. Sometimes it'll be events in the dungeon. Sometimes it'll be, and most of the time, it's going to be a creature or a monster. So we're going to show you some affliction cards. So notice that there is, let's just take this one. This is a physical affliction. And when I created these have something to do with your hero's body. For like, this is his body himself, like his body. He could suffer a broken bone. Let's start with this side. So the first thing, if a monster gives you, or an event, a physical affliction, you get to test it. There's a chance that, if your resistance is high enough, you won't be afflicted. And this is real simple. You're going to look down at whatever your physical warfare stats are. You get to add that to the roll. You roll a d20. So let's just say, I'm just thinking something off the top of my head, like a monster, the skeleton warrior has a chance to do a physical affliction, and it'll have a number like 13. So you're going to roll the d20, and you're going to add all of, the numbers in red, basically. Let's look at Maheliac here. So let's say this is all he had right now. See down here? So it's +2. You could add +2 to that check. And it makes sense, because, if you're resistant against that kind of stuff, there's a good chance you're not going to take it. But then again, we're going to look at this. There's also arcane afflictions. Where, remember, we talked about this before. He's terrible. So he is more susceptible of contracting an arcane affliction. And that. So what happens is, let's say that he didn't pass this, and it's real easy to understand. He's bleeding, and at the top of the upkeep phase, he's going to start losing 1 health. So that's what that is. Now, if you take a second affliction, you're going to flip the card over. Besides bleeding, you have a broken bone. And right there, and all of the second degree afflictions are like this. He's going to lose the D6, the red D6, when rolling for his warfare rolls. Remember when I was describing those, that you rolled a D6 and D12 of that color? Pull that, there it goes. Yeah, so unable to roll the red D6 on combat rolls or warfare rolls, however you want to say it. So it's very bad to get afflictions. But what do you do to cure afflictions? So let's say Maheliac had 3 afflictions. We could have Albus run back to the village here, come up to the bazaar. He'd have the gold to buy this, bring it back, and he could bring back an elixir for Maheliac. Elixir's cure, says right on the back, it cures all afflictions. So that's how you get rid of afflictions. And again, there's 6 different types, of course, but then there's, a first degree and a second degree. There's like blurred vision is for ranged. What's this one? Confusion, that you can't use any special abilities. So see, everything affects part of your body. Like this is a hero's eyes. This is a hero's mind. They can be feared. This is like their psyche. And then like chaos, madness, this is their reasoning, their thought process. So afflictions attack a part of a hero's body. If you can't tell, I really got into this game. But we'll end with this. Like, this is what I was saying. Like, so say Maheliak he's very susceptible to arcane afflictions. So if he failed this, he's going to lose 1 essence at the top of every upkeep phase. And then if he gets a 2nd degree affliction, and then he has paralysis, he is going to lose his green D6, which would be detrimental to him already, because he already is in the negative. He's not versed or proficient in arcane warfare. So he's going to lose the green D6. Okay, guys, so there is that. I hope you enjoyed that one. And we're going to come back, and I think we're going to look at encounter cards, treasure chest cards, some trap cards, and whatever else we can get into. Okay, I will see you in a few.